Like they advertised one match by crashing a car into one of the wrestlers. Not a total victory of Russia, which now we're seeing. He goes on.
Gigantic bag of flaccid dicks. Sorry, continue.
Which, when you open them up, you find out that they're all cockroaches inside.
Yeah. No, I don't know if anybody else is ever going to laugh this hard at anything we say.
We can actually both look out my window right now and see some very pretty yellow flowers that I'm going to be eradicating. This is a Geek History of Time,
where we connect nerdery to the real world. My name is Ed Blaylock. I'm an English teacher and history teacher here in Northern California, currently on hiatus for the next 2 weeks, but we won't get into that too much tonight. And who are you?
I'm Damian Harmony. Number one, I'm glad that you're back. Number two, I'm upset that you dated this episode. Now it's not timeless.
Really, are any of ours? I mean...
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I am a Latin teacher and a world history teacher who has assigned a novel in his world history class.
Oh, which one?
Forgotten Fire by Adam Bagdasarian.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to find that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I left all the copies at work, so sorry.
Oh, well.
So I am also here in Northern California. I'm also a father of two who are also on quarantine now.
All right.
So it's going to be a fun 3 weeks, so tuck in.
Yeah. Buckle up, Buttercup.
So you were gone.
Yes, I was
on assignment
not here. Yes.
In New Zealand.
Yes.
So that was that, and we did the Dark Crystal.
Yes.
Did you get to listen to any of the episodes?
I have not had the opportunity yet to listen to it.
Okay, I will await your reaction.
I really want to.
Good.
And I cannot begin to tell you how bereft I was that you were going to be doing that episode without me here, because it was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do like a bonus episode where I do it with you as well.
Okay.
And that might just be kind of a little funsies,
like
kind of a
tuck that in
Rashomon
there
style.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, hey.
Yeah.
Hey, it's you making the Kurosawa reference this time, not me.
And that's only a minute and a half in.
Yeah, and that's got to be a first for the cast.
Yeah.
So, and part of the reason that I was so excited about you having gotten excited about the Dark Crystal like that was I actually last year on the last day of school I showed it to my students.
Oh, neat!
Trying to teach on the last day, you're not.
Oh yeah.
You're not going to get any academic anything out of them anyway. So I was showing the Dark Crystal and it struck me that there was something that it had in common with a number of movies from the time period, but there was one that occurred to me in particular, and that's the one that I want to talk to you about tonight.
Oh, okay.
And it's Conan the Barbarian.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
They're both from roughly the same time period.
That's true. That's very true.
And there is
wildly different directors,
wildly different themes. There's and all. I mean, they're very, very different stories. They're both fantasy stories. I would classify Dark Crystal as being very much a high fantasy story. Conan is very much a low fantasy story.
Can you distinguish between those two things just real quick?
Oh, okay.
I've never heard that.
All right. Okay. So Game of Thrones is low fantasy. Certainly for the first season. It is low fantasy. We know that we're in a fantastical world. They talk about magic swords and they talk in historic terms about there used to be dragons and all this kind of stuff.
Okay.
But you don't see wizards doing magic. And all of the motivations are very rooted in real world, real politic, dynastic struggles, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so it's the mundane world in a world that previously used to be
fantastical.
Magical. Okay.
Now, the previously part is less important to the distinction with low fantasy than the idea that magic exists, but it's not an everyday thing.
Okay, so it would be like in D&D if I just played we all played melee characters and nobody had magic.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
If everybody played a martial type character, and to use a 4th edition term, if everybody used a martial type character, and the bad guy the big bad
He had some
was a
magic.
lich or a sorcerer or
Okay.
something like that. That would be not only very low fantasy.
Oh, that sounds like a cool adventure.
It
to
would
honest.
be, actually. It'd be brilliant. Not
Yeah.
only would it be low fantasy, it would also be sword and sorcery, which is what Conan is.
Okay.
Okay. Now, high fantasy,
Yes.
now sword and sorcery can be either one.
Okay. Sword and
High-
sorcery is a type.
Is a subset of the genre.
Okay. And the genre is divided kind of into two camps,
Kind
high
of
and low.
high and low, yeah.
Okay.
It's
And you
it's a
can
really
have-
simplistic kind of...
You can have high versions of anything and low versions, of anything. Okay,
yeah.
I get you now.
Sword and sorcery is easier to do in low fantasy, but you can probably do it high fantasy. So, are you familiar with the Dragonlance series?
By name,
Hickman?
yes, but
Okay.
the only
Okay.
fantasy I've ever read has been Star Wars.
Okay, so yeah, and no,
And
you're
that
not
I
gonna-
assume
no-
that's high
no
fantasy
argument.
because they use the Force all the time, based on what
that's
you're saying.
space opera, which is the science fiction version of high fantasy.
Okay, it ain't science fiction.
No,
No.
it's
Yeah.
no, but it's ray guns instead of fireballs. So
Right.
You know, there are
wow.
plenty of writers and publishers.
Can we? I'm going to interrupt you. Can we do an episode where we just like go through the taxonomy of all these fictions?
Fuck yes.
Okay, cool.
All
right.
Shit, I'm already halfway to writing it. Just thinking about it.
All right, cool.
So
less for me to do.
So yeah, so high fantasy to finish the distinction between the two.
Okay.
High fantasy is usually any world in which magic is more commonplace, in which you see big, splashy, dramatic kind of magical stuff happening. The classic example would be Lord of the Rings is very much a high fantasy.
Okay.
It's this the emotional context of it is this overwrought romantic kind of thing.
Oh.
The stakes are the fate of the world.
The stakes are epic.
Whereas low fantasy is usually like the Conan stories, which I'm going to talk about.
They're far more localized.
Yeah, it's far more personal.
Okay.
Like you might get into the fate of a kingdom, but it's never going to be like we've got to save the world.
Right.
You know, in low fantasy. Thieves' World by Robert Asprin, which if you haven't read, I really highly recommend. It's awesome.
Okay.
It's an anthology. It's edited by Robert Asprin. Some of it was written by Robert Asprin, but it's a great anthology series that is almost the textbook definition of low fantasy.
Now, is that similar to Bard's World by John Ibuprofen?
Fuck you.
No.
Good day, sir.
How
God damn
about
it.
A Monk's World by Bill Tylenol?
After the day we have had, you bring this to me.
I do.
Now. No.
No? Okay.
No.
Fair. All right. It's
So-
weird. I've never seen ibuprofen inflame someone.
Inflame. Have the opposite of its intended effect like
Right?
that. Yeah. So anyway, high fantasy, the stakes are high. The scale is epic. The scale of the conflict is epic.
Okay.
And you tend to have more kind of black and white morality. You have clear good guys, clear bad guys.
That's very Star Wars. Okay.
Yeah. Star Wars would be a very high fantasy kind of space opera.
Yeah, because they're saving the galaxy.
They're saving it's the whole
and
galaxy. It's light
black
side versus dark
white.
side.
Yeah.
Harry Potter
Very high fantasy.
Very high fantasy.
Now, do you have to have the presence of magic for it to be high fantasy, or can you have it be mundane martial stuff that is epic? Like, does magic have to? Can you have the romantic?
You'd start getting into.
Now, clearly, that's another
questions.
podcast.
Yeah, that's part of the taxonomy discussion.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
because I love parsing.
Yeah. Just give me a hair, I'll split it. Yeah. I would argue. I would argue it's a spectrum.
Okay. Sure.
Something like that would be closer to the midline.
Okay.
Because not a lot of magic, but
still have the romance
swashbuckling kind of fiction
right.
with a little bit of magic thrown in.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
So yeah.
All right.
So
I'm gonna have fun asking all kinds of picky-packy questions.
And I'm really gonna have to learn how to tap dance. So, but Conan is very much a low fantasy story, like I said.
So the New Testament would be high fantasy. For me, not for you. For you, it's a guidebook. For me, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
If you're choosing to read it as fiction as opposed to choosing to believe. Then
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So most Greek mythology would also be high. Most mythologies would be higher fantasy.
Would fall under kind of higher fantasy. I mean, if you take that as your inspiration and turn it into a more novelized kind of approach, because mythology is its own, folklore and mythology are kind of their own thing.
Okay, so those aren't fantasy.
They're not. Because of, I mean, they are fantastical,
but they set people's beliefs. They
set people's beliefs and
they weren't originally presented as a fiction.
Yeah.
I get you now. Okay.
Or they were like fairy tales.
Sure.
Were presented for a specific reason, like they were a morality play kind of thing, and so they get lumped in with folklore. And
they were morality told in an entertaining way, not entertainment told with
moralistically,
morals. Right?
Which is the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, right.
Because
you can
the
see
hell with author intent,
exactly,
as you can see
in our Tolkien episodes.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, looking at The Dark Crystal again.
Yes.
For me, after I hadn't seen it in literally decades, like forever, I hadn't watched it. There was an aesthetic. There were these elements in it that I was like, I got to find some way to tie this together to Conan the Barbarian, because
there's something going on there.
I'm seeing something here. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something going on here.
Sure.
And in the process of trying to figure that out, as happens with us when we start doing research, I realized that my thesis about Conan couldn't do, or this thesis about Conan, I couldn't do that. I needed to get something else off my chest first. And so the title I have for this episode is Conan the Barbarian and Reagan the Cold Warrior.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Now, I would like to ask you this. I don't want to steal the thunder from your title. It's a good title.
Yeah.
So
the other title I came up with was Conan of Cimmeria and Reagan of California.
I like that one better.
Yeah, it is. It's a little punchier, but yeah.
So I could just see like both of them, one on either side of a sword. That's
yeah. Yeah. You could. Oh man, I can see the poster now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was it the clothing of the Skeksis that reminded you of Conan? Because I have this here picture of Conan from the comic books.
Oh, I'm so happy you found that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So for those of you that can't see the video, Conan came back into the world. So Marvel Comics bought the property for a bit. Okay, cool.
Well, they got a license property.
Yeah, licensed it. And he dressed as a circa 1970s pimp with a pet jaguar.
Well, jaguar or leopard, I can't tell, but some spotted cat.
Yeah. So,
yeah, and the funny thing is, I don't know for sure whether Robert E. Howard would be entertained to death by that, or if that caused him to rotate in his grave fast enough to generate electricity. and we'll get into talking about why that might be the case here in a minute. So Conan the Barbarian, is an iconic film that turned a Mr. Universe into a bankable Hollywood star, who then went on to become a political figure.
Yep.
And it set a stamp on the science fiction fantasy genre that has lasted ever since.
Okay.
Yeah. Any kind of swashbuckling fantasy movie that has been made since Conan the Barbarian, it's like the 60s Batman series. Every Batman series that came after that is either an homage or is a reaction to that.
They're all responding to it.
They're all somehow responding to it. Every sword and sorcery movie that has been made since 1982 is somehow a response to Conan the Barbarian. Okay. And so the question is, why did that movie about that character create that level of legacy, have that kind of impact on the national psyche?
Sure.
Even though at the time it was a success.
Yes, it was.
But at the time it was not a blockbuster.
Right. It was a success for bikers.
Yeah.
Like, tough guys really liked it.
Yeah. So, I have to start with this because my inner 12-year-old won't let me not.
Okay.
Between the time when the oceans drank Atlantis and the rise of the sons of Ares, there was an age undreamed of. And unto this Conan, destined to wear the jeweled crown of Aquilonia upon a troubled brow. It is I, his chronicler, who alone can tell thee of his saga. Let me tell you of the days of high adventure. Go into the beginning of the Polydorus score, and like all the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. It's incredibly evocative.
And again, for those of you that didn't buy the extended package, you didn't see the video of me mouthing it right along with that. So I really encourage you to buy the extended package.
The extended package.
Yeah.
We have bills to pay. Please.
Yes. Oh boy, do we now.
Woo boy. So we're gonna start with Robert E. Howard.
Okay.
Because he's
uncle of Ron and Clint Howard.
Yes. No. God damn it. No.
Grandfather of Howard the Duck.
Probably not.
No?
But I didn't find out one way or the other. You can't prove a negative.
Can't call foul.
Highly fuck. Quack. Yeah. That you caught me flat-footed with that one. So we got to start with Bob Howard.
Okay.
Two Gun Bob. That was his actual nickname.
For the same reason as that's listed in the Unforgiven movie?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
That would have been way cooler.
Yeah, well, yeah. But so we got to start with Howard.
Okay.
And by starting with Howard, we have to start with Peaster, Texas, which is where he was born.
Okay.
Tiny little fly speck of a town. Mm-hmm. And then Cross Plains, Texas.
Okay.
On a map, to anybody who's not from Texas, Cross Plains looks about as central Texas as you can get. I mean, it's smack like it's a little bit above.
It's the Kansas of Texas.
Yeah, it's a little bit above where the actual center of gravity of Texas looks like it ought to be.
Okay,
but it's basically right in the middle of the state.
Just above the X, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. But it is considered part of West Texas.
Okay.
Because however they determine the regions.
Sure.
And that's the part with plains, scrub, rolling hills in some places, and most importantly for our story, oil.
Okay.
Now, Two Gun Bob was born in 1906. His father was a doctor with a penchant for get-rich-quick schemes, and his mother...
So he was a doctor. Back then, doctors, that was their thing.
Yeah. And his mother came from a patrician family who had a lot of people in her family who were very sickly. She was their caretaker. She had a massive martyr complex.
Okay.
His mother developed tuberculosis after looking after a succession of relatives and was frail and sickly all of Robert's life. His family moved from Peaster to Cross Plains in 1919, so he was 13 years old.
So this is during the flu epidemic.
Still during it. He witnessed a lot of strife between his parents. Okay. Rooted at least partly in money trouble because of his father's
It's number one cause of separation.
Yeah, and he faced bullying as a kid.
Okay. Was he the oldest, the youngest, and only? An only. Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Speaking as an only myself,
I was going to say...
this all makes so much sense now. He was surrounded by the rough and violent culture of just past close of the frontier Texas. Mm-hmm. And so this is still, we're not even 2 decades into the 20th century yet.
Yeah, Arizona...
We're not through the second decade of the 20th century.
Oklahoma, Arizona, and New Mexico had just become states by the time he's walking.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so... he heard firsthand accounts from neighbors and friends of the family of Native American raids, gunfights, feuds between early settlers, and unfortunately lynchings.
Right.
He developed...
Texas has the needs killing law.
Yeah.
And which is if you can assemble 12 guys, they can act as jury.
Yes.
Because it's so wide open that sometimes someone needs killing.
Apparently.
Yeah.
So... he developed, because of all this, developed a sense of omnipresent violence in the world. He attached value to physical strength and prowess, and he absorbed the unavoidable kind of ugly racism that was prevalent in society at the time. This last one is an unfortunate trait he shares with Lovecraft, and we're going to come back around to it. Okay. He wrote a lot. He got published for the first time at the age of 20, which convinced him to drop out of college for a while. His father wanted him to get a degree in accountancy. Sure. And he did eventually finish the degree because, his father was pushing him to do it.
Okay.
But as soon as he could make a living viably as a writer for the pulps, he
was done.
Flung that out the window. He was done. He's one of the founding figures of the weird fiction genre and is considered the father of sword and sorcery.
All right, back it up just a hair. What is weird fiction compared to other fictions?
Weird fiction... Weird fiction is the Tao. The Tao that you can speak of is not the true Tao. Okay. Weird fiction is really is one of those things that the definition kind of depends on which science fiction writer you ask. It is, I would say, the easiest shorthand I can think of, and I know I've got writer friends who are going to tell me I'm so fucking wrong, but right now off the top of my head, the best kind of way I can describe it is if you imagine magical realism.
Okay.
And then make it desperately unsettling.
Okay, so there's like an unsettling horror component to it.
Gothic, eldritch,
sure,
kind of stuff.
Witch huntery.
There are intelligences out in the universe, and it's not that they hate us; they are just utterly, coldly indifferent. Okay.
Yeah, I could see that.
All right. So, and he's responsible. Howard is responsible for creating a platoon of pulp characters. But the one we're here to talk about is Conan, because Conan is the one that stuck in the popular imagination.
Sure.
Now, to talk about the origin of the character, Howard had been fascinated by Celtic ideas and themes for a number of years by the time he came up with Conan. He had traced and studied his own Irish heritage.
Okay.
And he had written to other members of the Lovecraft circle about Celtic cultural ideas and concepts. Now I need to talk a little bit about the Lovecraft circle. Sure. So Weird Tales was the incubator for sword and sorcery. It was the incubator for weird fiction. It was the incubator for what has become now today the Cthulhu mythos, with H.P. Lovecraft as the guy most centrally responsible for developing that. And so Howard... if I remember correctly, Lovecraft got a story published in Weird Tales. Okay. And Howard was really impressed, blown away with it. And he, of course, because this is the late 1920s, early 1930s, he was in consistent correspondence with the editor. He had developed a relationship with the editor because he'd been submitting over and over, and the editor had been writing back saying, yeah, this is good, but punch it up, do this, that, and the other. And so he wrote to the editor and said, "Hey, this guy Lovecraft, I'd like to talk to him about his stuff. Can you give me his address?" Sure. And of course, since it was 1929, 1930, sure, it was like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. And well, so, I mean, in the newspaper, like if you were interviewed in the newspaper, they would say this address. Yeah. That was just in the article.
It was just a thing. Yeah.
They had books sitting out, hanging off of telephones that were posted on streets. Yeah. For decades that had all of our addresses in them.
Our current 21st century concept of
privacy
data privacy is the paradigm is completely different. Yeah. So, but anyway,
let me just back you up a second. So he's writing and he starts. Well, he's born in 2006. Yeah. He gets published in 27. The world collapses in on itself in 29. The Dust Bowl's kicking up by 31, 32. Yeah. And he's still finding success as a writer because pulp novels are cheap.
Well, he was not getting published via novels.
No, but I mean pulp mags.
Pulp magazines. Yeah.
So they're cheap. So they're easy. And so he's not necessarily suffering from the economic strife that everybody is, but where he grew up is where all the yellow dust came from.
Yes.
So
a great deal of it, yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious as to how the Depression impacted him. In terms of was there a shift in his writing? Did he escape more into a fantasy world?
I think
were there desert scapes more, high plains? Because you mentioned scrub and whatnot. Yeah. So
I think looking back over his writing, I think what motivated him to write, and we're gonna talk about that in a bit. Sure. the things that were driving his need to throw ink on the page were, the only word that comes to mind is deeper. They were rooted.
Okay.
Too deeply to really be.
It was an artistic compulsion more than it was.
Yeah, it really was. And
Okay.
if you read his prose, like you can tell he's
channeling himself.
He's channeling.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, he wrote to Lovecraft, and Lovecraft wrote back, and they became best buddies.
Neat. Now, is he still
ever
living
meeting
in Texas?
He's in dividing his time between Cross Plains and I want to say Houston.
Okay,
where
so
he
he's
was
staying
going
in
to school.
Texas.
He's
proper,
still in
though.
Texas.
Okay.
Still in Texas.
Okay.
And so he earned the nickname Two Gun Bob from H.P. Lovecraft because a whole lot of the stuff that he talked about was the frontier stories of the gunfighters and all that stuff that he knew about. He was an encyclopedic source of information about the Southwest. He absorbed all this stuff like a sponge and would tell anybody who would listen.
So he was to that what I am to wrestling.
Basically.
Okay, got it.
And so, anyway, so he corresponded with Lovecraft. And he and Lovecraft had very, very deep-seated differences of worldview.
Okay.
About the shape of the universe, about the role of man, and especially about civilization.
Okay.
And we're going to get to it. But so he's writing Lovecraft, and he's writing these other guys that are in this same correspondence circle.
Sure.
And all of these, it's like a fraternity almost through the mail of these guys who are all submitting all this stuff to all these pulp magazines, but especially to Weird Tales.
Okay.
And so he'd been writing with these guys about all these Celtic themes. He was really interested in all this Celtic stuff. And in early 1932, he and a couple of his actual IRL friends were taking a road trip, kind of a vacation across Texas. And he wound up, they holed up someplace, and it was raining, and he was looking out over the countryside, and looking out over these rain-shrouded, sullen hills. The idea came forth out of wherever it had been brewing in his subconscious of a northern land of reaving barbarians called Cimmeria. By March, he had completed the first 3 Conan stories: The Phoenix on the Sword, The Frost Giant's Daughter, and The God in the Bowl.
Cool names.
They represent 3 different phases of Conan's life.
Okay.
And all of the other Conan stories fit somewhere in between those 3.
Those are his set pieces.
Those are kind of the set pieces. Those are, as Doctor Who would say, the fixed points in time.
Those are episodes 4, 5, and 6, around which all the EU gets written.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay. Or 3, 6, and 7.
Yeah. Depending on how you want to define that. So Weird Tales published The Phoenix on the Sword in December of 32, after multiple back and forths with the editor and a bunch of rewrites.
Now, are these are short stories then?
These are short stories.
Okay.
Yeah, all of these, nearly everything I'm going to talk about when I'm talking about Howard and Conan is a short story.
Okay.
There were a couple of novelettes. The full-length novels didn't come along until after Howard was dead. And
interesting.
That's forward in the timeline.
We'll get there.
So the Hyborian Age, which is this world that he had created in which Cimmeria was this, northern land of reavers. He fleshed it out in an 8,000-word essay after those first 3 stories were submitted to Weird Tales. Now, he was a history nerd. Okay. But writing historical fiction means you actually have to spend time doing research.
Sure.
He's writing for the pulps. He doesn't have time to do research. So by creating this world of his own, he creates this pseudo-historical setting that it feels like he's writing historical fiction, but he doesn't have to waste time going to the library.
Right.
To get his details right. So, for a pulp writer, this is the best way to go.
He's very well equipped to do what he's doing.
Yeah. And by the time The Phoenix on the Sword was actually published, so remember, he finished the first 3 in March.
Of 32.
Okay. It was published, finally, in December of 32.
Okay.
That was the first Conan story to get published. By the time that was actually printed, Howard had written 9 more Conan stories. That's one a month.
That's a hell of a compulsion.
That's one a month just for Conan.
Right.
He was writing and getting other stuff printed in other magazines at the same time to pay the bills. Okay. The output he had was, the only word I can think of is frenetic.
Yeah, that's a good word for it, yeah. This is the days before email.
Yeah.
This is when he had a mechanical typewriter at best.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, no, it was
clickety-clackety, and then put it in a big old envelope
tack.
and then send it on.
And some of them simply say it was a response to major emotional stress.
Yeah. I mean, it's also... It seems to me that's a very spur of the moment decision. Had there been any suicide attempts prior to that?
Not prior to that one.
Right. I mean, it's a, they say that people who survive suicide attempts very, very often regret them.
Yeah.
And they're glad that they failed at it. You know. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
His father and the nurse heard the gunshot, rushed out, found him in the car, and he died hours later. Never regained consciousness, but the damage was too
30.
severe. At 30.
Wow.
And the quote, there's a really great quote from Stephen King in Dance Macabre, and it's not actually very complimentary about Howard. What he says is that talent is a cheap commodity. It's as cheap as table salt. The skill, every writer is given a knife, and it's a knife that can only cut with very great force. And if you try to cut with a blunt knife, you have to swing it almighty hard.
Right.
And eventually, if you keep doing that too much, the knife is going to break in your hands. And he references Howard.
Interesting.
In the quote. And then he says, and this is how I've always seen it as a backhanded compliment to Howard. He says, none of us are born with a sharp knife. Some of us are given an almighty big knife, and those are the ones that we call geniuses.
Okay.
So
he never sharpened his...
To King.
Right.
Because, I mean, look at King's output, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, like to anybody like me who's an armchair, like, I want to be a novelist. And, I start every November, I think about, okay, I'm going to try NaNoWriMo, and I get 15 pages in, and I just can't
you're done.
Go any further. I'm done. Anybody who can churn out a novel is like, all right, you're a badass. All respect. And anybody who can put out that level of work over the course of, we're talking about over the course of 4 years, putting out, 17 published short stories and a whole ream of stuff that got published posthumously. And again, he was still writing other characters. This, Conan was 17 stories.
Right.
Kull the Conqueror was another 4 or 5.
That was his too?
Solomon Kane was his too.
No
Red
shit.
Sonja was his too.
That I know. Okay. Just so you know, Stephen King published 61 novels, including 7 under a pen name.
Yeah.
And over 200 short stories. He's still alive, by the way.
Look how much longer he's survived,
Yeah, it turns out.
Yeah.
He is just a few years younger than my dad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
The joke about Stephen King, by the way, was that when you remember he had that horrible car accident.
Oh yeah,
right?
Terrible, awful.
And they said
drunk driver hit him.
Yeah, and he his next novel was slowed down by about 45 minutes.
On the one hand, that's an awful joke. On the other hand, all credit to King.
Yeah.
It's not entirely wrong.
No.
So Howard killed himself.
Yes.
And he created a number of powerful, evocative characters. Kull of Atlantis, also known as Kull the Conqueror, Solomon Kane, who I already mentioned, Red Sonja. And one of his personal favorite characters was a character nobody remembers anymore today, except people who were like deep Pulp Fiction nerds.
Sure.
Named Sailor Steve Costigan, whose stories were published in pulp magazines that had to do with boxing and gritty kind of sailor yarn kind of stories.
Sounds very Irish.
Yeah. And Sailor Steve was this tough sailor, merchant marine guy who ran into misadventures in foreign ports that always involved him, fighting his way out of them with his bare knuckles and, very, very macho, pulp stuff. And none of those characters had anything like the level of success that Conan did.
Yeah, okay.
Conan wound up being his big seller. Sherlock Holmes was Conan Doyle's big moneymaker.
Right.
In Conan Doyle's case, he got so sick of the character, he killed him off. He tried to kill him off at one point and had to bring him back because of popular demand. Conan Doyle preferred his other stories, the White Company, which were a couple of stories, and I want to say the Brigadier Gerard. I'm going to have to look it up, which was a wonderful series of stories about a Napoleon Hussar colonel.
Okay.
Reminiscing years after the war, telling stories of all his adventures. That now that everything's over, I can tell you all about all this stuff.
Sure.
Those were his favorite characters, but the one that made him all his money was Sherlock Holmes.
Right.
Conan was the one that made Howard all of his money, and was probably the one closest to his own
ideal self.
Id.
Yeah.
Okay. And so after he died, at first his father controlled the literary rights to his estate and everything.
Okay.
And then it went back and forth. There were issues with ownership of the rights. And in the mid-'60s, L. Sprague de Camp and Charles de Lint got a publishing deal to start reprinting Howard's work in the 60s.
Okay.
And then this led to a Howard boom in the 70s with those stories picking up in paperback.
Right.
And then de Camp and Lint writing more in the
style.
Conan in the style of Howard.
Right.
With the character and selling
like hotcakes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me back it up just a hair.
Yeah.
In the 60s, they get the rights. I recall when we talked about Tolkien, I think I'd mentioned about how there was a resurgence for Tolkien in the 60s. Because college students had found some of his stuff.
I wouldn't call Tolkien a resurgence so much as his stuff was originally published in the 50s and it was kind of hanging out. It hadn't ever really had it hadn't ever peaked and then hit a valley and then come back. It was it's out here, and the hippies figure out about Frodo and we're off to the races.
Gotcha. So it's roughly the same time.
It's the same kind of time.
So,
but it's a different demographic.
Oh, it is. Okay,
buying
that was
Conan.
That was my next question.
If you look up Conan novels on Google, everything you're going to see is going to be a painting by Frank Frazetta. If you go to the images page, Frank Frazetta painted the covers to nearly all of these. And the imagery of those covers came to define the character, despite the fact they don't actually look very much like the way Conan's described in the stories.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
So in the books, Conan was strong.
Sure.
He was athletic, but he wasn't a bodybuilder. He didn't look like a muscle man. He wasn't bulky or heavily muscled. Okay. His greatest physical asset, and Howard talks about this all the time, was his cat-like grace and his speed.
Oh, interesting.
He was a speed bruiser. He did hit like a ton of bricks, but it was not being the big powerful guy that won things for him. It was his grace and his skill.
Interesting, because I remember there was a role-playing game of Conan.
Yes.
I know because I played it a bit with my dad.
Yeah.
And it was the pictures were clearly based on the
Frazetta.
Right.
Oh yeah.
His art.
Well, because they're so evocative.
Yes.
I mean, one of the things Frazetta was really great at was number one, capturing idealized human figures.
Yeah, the classical
kind of human figures.
Yeah,
is amazing, and his ability to work with light and shadow.
Yes.
And create an entire mood.
Yes.
is absolutely amazing.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
there is not a single Frank Frazetta painting that you don't immediately have an emotional reaction to.
You know what? I'm going to come back to that in just a second because there's a hilarious story about 5-year-old me.
Okay.
But so that game though, right? So that game, he was listed as and I don't remember exactly the mechanic, but he was listed. You could play like 4 stock characters. There was Conan and 3 of his buddies, right?
Okay.
And Conan was a fighter and a thief.
Yes.
And his buddy was a fighter and not a thief. And his buddy was a better fighter than Conan was, but Conan had the advantage of being a thief too.
Yeah.
And it was very much emphasized in that game that Conan was kind of the... You know, in the video games where you can play a super lightweight guy, a super heavyweight guy, or the guy who's in the middle.
Yeah.
And the guy who's in the middle is always the star of the star on the box.
Yeah.
Conan was very much that, you know. You know, what do you want to play an extreme or something that covers both? All right. So his litheness, his cat-like grace, like you said, absolutely fits into that.
Yeah.
Now I want to back up. So I'm 5 years old.
Okay.
And my dad has just kind of come into my life. I'm adopted by him later on. And he lives with us. We're in our flat in San Francisco.
Okay.
I forget which one because we moved literally one building over at one point.
Okay.
We put down a plank and just slid stuff across to the other.
Okay.
So we're living in our flat, and I'm sick. I've got a stomach bug or something like that, or maybe it was when I'd gotten blood poisoning from redwood splinter.
Oh, Jesus.
And I didn't tell anybody for months. I was 5.
Okay,
You know,
God.
My mom took me to the hospital or to the doctors because I couldn't move my finger because it was swollen up like on Andre the Giant finger, and I had red streaks going up my arm.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Okay. Yeah, time for like intravenous antibiotics.
Yeah, I was given a lot of penicillin. So
no kidding.
Pink chalky.
Good
is
God.
great.
Yeah. I'm amazed they didn't set you up with an IV and tell you were not moving.
You know, I don't remember that much.
Okay,
but
it was the 80s.
Yeah, so I think it was around that time. So my mom had these really large pillows. I remember a lot of sense memory. Had these really large pillows that I would use as wrestling mats for my figures, right?
Okay, yeah.
And I'm sitting there in, I think, the living room on several large pillows. And there's different colors to them. There's an orange and a green one, and I'm sitting on there. And my dad comes home from work. And he's still getting to know me. And he's into miniatures, and there's this wonderful picture of the two of us looking at the Battle of Waterloo that he's setting up and stuff like that, right?
Very cool.
And so he had shown me Conan the Barbarian, I think, on VHS. And we had a VHS player at this point.
Okay.
And I might be compressing things, but... so I knew Conan, but from the TV version. So I didn't know Conan touching Sandal Bergman's boob. I didn't know Conan fighting the witch lady who
bursts into flames. Turns out to be some kind of demon bursts into flames.
You know, because you got to go to the crossroads of Zamora and all that. I didn't know that part. I just knew the edited for TV version, right?
Yeah.
And so they'd show you parts of that scene and then quickly skip on, you know.
Yeah.
So he's showing me these posters that he brought home. Mm-hmm. And they're nice, like 12 by 15 posters, you know, of Conan stuff. And it's Frazetta. And he shows me, and it's Conan fighting these goblins, right? And it's really cool. And then it's Conan taking on this guy. And then he's like really talking it up. He's like, okay, are you ready for the next one? I don't want to make you upset. Like, this is really scary. I'm like, no, I can do it. And it's Conan fighting this ape man, which in Conan the Destroyer, he does fight in that Hall of Mirrors, right?
Yeah.
And it's that same thing. And I'd seen the Destroyer with him by this point, I think.
Okay.
And he shows it to me. And at that very moment, I had to throw up. And so he thought that he literally scared me into throwing up.
Vomiting. That's funny.
And so this
awful.
podcast is my confession that no, indeed, I was just sick.
You were just sick.
But I had to run to Chunder, and I didn't make it very far. And it was when he'd showed me that. And the poor guy, he's, in some ways he's reaching out to me because I'm a really cool kid.
Yeah.
But also I'm the kid of the gal that he's digging.
Yeah.
So,
like, oh man, how did I screw this up?
Right.
Dude.
So.
Oh, hell, I'm going to be on the couch tonight. Yeah.
No, I'm not because it's got vomit all over it,
Oh, you really didn't make it very far.
Yeah.
All right.
I threw up my body weight. It was great. So, yeah. But and you know what? With that, I'm going to ask that we take a break for a short commercial.
Hello, Geek Timers. This is producer George, interrupting this podcast to let you know that we have space available. This space could be used to promote your product, book, event, group, even wish a special someone happy birthday. If you're interested in using this space, please contact us on Twitter via private message at Geek History Time.
And we're back. Commercial like that, doesn't that just make people want to like throw money at us so that they can buy that space?
Oh yeah, just make it rain.
Oh yeah. I strongly recommend reach out to us.
Yeah, please.
On Twitter. You could message us independently at Harmony or at EH Blaylock. And cut a separate deal with either of us. We're corrupt. That's fine. We're bribable.
We're totally fine making separate peace.
Yeah. Or if you want, you can email the at Geek Harmony on the Twitter, and then you'll keep us all honest.
At Geek History of Time.
Yes. Sorry.
Not Geek Harmony.
So I'm trying to set up my own subsidiary.
Like going into business for yourself.
A little bit. Yeah. Like I said, we're
Geek
corrupt.
Harmony sounds like kind of a weird dating service. I don't know about that.
You know, that might be something that they're advertising on the Facebooks right now. They might be.
Could be.
I don't know.
All right.
Or at Geek Blaylock. Just
there you go. Yeah, cover your bases. Send it to all of them.
Yeah.
Shotgun it.
Yeah, but you could wish somebody a happy birthday. You could absolutely like the ads have said. Like, there's any number of things you could do with that space.
Yes.
It could be just me reading 8 seconds of John Keats. Or John Yeats. I don't know.
I might actually pay money for that. Just because that's weird.
Yeah, 8 seconds at a time.
Right. Yeah, 8 seconds at a time.
John Keats for the 8s.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we left off,
yes,
we were talking about the Frazetta aesthetic.
Yes.
And it
enough
was,
to make a kid throw up.
Enough to make a kid throw up, or to make an adolescent boy not throw up.
Mm-hmm.
Because Frazetta did love him some lithe, curvy women.
Yep. Well, here's an example. I'm just going to show you of again. I think it's an homage to Howard.
Okay.
Actually, but it's very much Conan and lithe, curvy women.
There you go, Howard the Duck. Yes, with a Red Sonja impersonator in the background. Yeah.
So, and you see the menacing shadow that is Conan.
Yeah, the menacing shadow that is Conan about to kick the duck's ass.
Yes.
So, speaking of comics,
yes,
the Frazetta aesthetic got carried forward into the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when he's not dressed like a business manager for ladies of ill repute, Conan in the comics is this. He's a superheroic.
Yeah.
He's a superheroic figure.
Yes,
because if you're a comic book artist, that's what you're most familiar with drawing.
Yeah,
and that sells the idea of barbarian warrior.
Right.
More easily.
Oh yeah.
More clearly in a visual medium than drawing a guy who's kind of athletic and but
I think that's kind of what makes the movie Snatch work really well, actually, is the fact that Brad Pitt looks nothing like that, and he's knocking people out.
Yeah.
That's kind of the juxtaposition.
It is.
So it's still responding to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's responding to the underlying ideas and themes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so talking about the comics, in 1970, Marvel published a Conan the Barbarian series.
Yes.
And the success of that led to the magazine Savage Sword of Conan, starting in 1974.
Okay.
Which was a black and white magazine-sized anthology of some stuff that was inspired by the Howard stories, some stuff that was inspired by the DeCamp and the DeLint stories, and some stuff that was just new. Created for the comics, and had more adult themes and artwork.
So that's 74.
Yeah.
Do you know when Arnold gets to America? Because I think in 74 he was in a movie called Hercules in New York.
I don't know if that was 70. I don't.
That might have been later.
Was that early?
Was 74 when he did? 75 is when he did Pumping Iron.
Yeah. 75 was Pumping Iron.
Okay.
So he was probably in the States.
Okay. This is a thing that's growing. In the lexicon.
Yeah. So in 78, Marvel actually even started producing a daily Conan strip for newspapers.
Oh, wow.
That ran through 1981.
Wow.
So he's still out there in the public consciousness.
Right.
He's still this character that's selling magazines.
Right
for
there
Marvel.
under Barney Google and Mary Worth.
And Prince Valiant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Prince Valiant.
Yeah. And
Mark Trail.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
shit.
when I was in junior high and high school, I discovered the reprints of the Savage Sword magazines. And
how'd you find them?
How did I find them? I'm trying to even remember. I think, off the top of my head, there was a section in the magazine section in the Navy Exchange at Miramar had a shelf or a set of shelves.
Okay.
One rack, essentially, that was comics of all, and whoever was buying their comics was buying all kinds of eclectic stuff. Because that was also where I first saw my first ever copy of The Nom. You remember that series?
Yes.
They had that on the shelf. They had several Marvel superhero titles, and they had Savage Sword of Conan, and
just kind of hodgepodge.
Kind of like, okay,
sounds like a PX.
Yeah, it really does.
Really does.
Yeah, and so, but I found Savage Sword, and I remember vividly one of the first stories I opened it up to had this great, very Howard-esque, text opening.
Sure.
About it's this swamp on the outskirts of Aquilonia where the red and black legions have met each other and fought each other to a bloody a bloody stalemate, and the only survivors of the battle are a Cimmerian mercenary who's been taken prisoner by one of the officers of the Red Legion. And Conan and this lone survivor wind up having to travel through this swamp, and they run into a sorcerer or a witch or some monster. I don't even remember anymore. But it was just like the opening line of the intro just like grabbed me by the forebrain and was like, no, you're going to fucking read this.
That's cool.
And it was amazing. And then I found a couple of other copies, as time went on. I got other copies of it, and I realized that this was a way to get a hold of pictures of nearly naked women that I would be able to bring home under the cover of, Mom, can I pick up this comic? Cool.
That's like ElfQuest for other people.
Yeah, kind of.
There's a local comic here in Sacramento named Keith Lowell Jensen. I'm going to drop his name.
Yeah.
He has an album called ElfQuest.
Yeah.
No, it's called Elf Orgy. I'm sorry.
Oh, nice.
Because of ElfQuest.
Because of ElfQuest,
yes.
Yeah. So this character is out there in the Zeitgeist. This character is still out there pushing magazines.
Yes.
People are still buying it. People
Comic
are still
books,
eating it up.
Yeah.
And so that leads
Fighting
to
the Hulk, by the way. He fights the Hulk at one point in the comics.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. When Marvel was like, well, we got the rights to this character. What are we going to do with it?
Yeah. Let's put him with Conan.
Yeah. Nice. Well done.
Thank you.
So, and the question is, it's like, of all the characters that Howard created, why was this one? This specific dude, why was this one the one that caught fire?
Well, and it had morphed so much. Like you said, Howard created him as this lithe fellow.
Yeah.
And by the time it's catching fire in the zeitgeist, I mean, it had pulled through.
Yeah.
His adventures, I would imagine, him being the protagonist.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
But the visual aspect, you start to see it like go from like, wow, he's doing really well, and then suddenly it hockey sticks because it becomes iconic.
Yes. And the visual representation, the association with the Frazetta stuff, all that kind of stuff is definitely part of it.
Yes.
My theory is that it has a lot to do with the themes embodied by Conan.
Embodied. Nice.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Made that. When I wrote that in my notes, that wasn't a pun. I just want to say. So, Howard's other characters are all one-note sketches. Okay, Sailor Steve Costigan is a bare-knuckle fighter who travels the world.
Sure.
Solomon Kane is an avenging Puritan swordsman. Which in the stories comes across as a hell of a lot more awesome than that sounds as a one-line pitch. Red Sonja is a Hellcat with a sword.
She's female Conan.
No.
No?
In the actual Howard stories, she's a semi-historical mercenary commander who was actually inspired by a real historical...
Boudica?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, a female Italian consigliere.
Oh.
In the 1500s. I want to say, and I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
One of Medici's?
No.
Lucretia Borgia.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm running out of ideas.
A mercenary, a female
mercenary commander.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Conan is the only one of them who ever has the opportunity to develop a real personality, and that personality is really compelling.
Okay.
The stories themselves are kinetic, and the language itself is vital. Mm-hmm. An example here. I took an excerpt.
Sure.
Just listen to this.
Yeah.
Outside, the moan of the tortured thousands shuddered up to the stars, which crusted the sweating Vendian night, and the conchs bellowed like oxen in pain. In the gardens of the palace, the torches glinted on polished helmets and curved swords and gold-chased corselets. All the noble-born fighting men of Ayodhya were gathered in the great palace or about it, and at each broad-arched gate and door 50 archers stood on guard with bows in their hands. But death stalked through the royal palace, and none could stay its ghostly hand. On the dais under the golden dome, the king cried out again, racked by awful paroxysms. Again his voice came faintly and far away, and again the Devi bent to him, trembling with a fear that was darker than the terror of death. That's the opening. That is the cold open for the people of the Black Circle.
Okay.
From 1934. I've said before that I'm a sucker for prose.
Yes, you are.
And Fahrenheit 451 is an amazing example of prose that just bumps right up against the edge of being poetic. Mm-hmm. And Howard, his language and the way he describes everything just like practically leaps off the page. Mm-hmm. It's immensely evocative, and everything captures an emotion and a mood almost immediately.
Yeah, when you were reading it, I was like, listening obviously to how you were reading it and the tone that you were taking with it, but it seemed like the words were almost like you see in movies where people step into a swamp and the darkness folds around them. Yeah. That's what it feels like. The world sags in the middle and pulls you in. Yeah. Not so much it leaps off the page, but it sags in the middle and pulls you into it.
That's a better. I like that better. Yeah. And so Conan.
You are a sucker for prose.
Yeah. Conan has a code of honor. Mm-hmm. That code is barbaric and kind of amoral, but it is unbreakable. Okay. Mm-hmm. He's a survivor first and foremost. Mm-hmm. He'll fight dirty against an enemy. He'll steal. He'll do what needs to be done, and he doesn't spend time feeling guilty about it.
Sure.
He's vigorous, and he's fearless, and he's defiant. Mm-hmm. He's a hedonist, but he's not decadent. Okay. The not decadent part is a core part of Howard's philosophy. We'll come back around to it. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, in the 30s, as you mentioned, talking about the Depression, everybody was struggling. At the start of nearly all of his stories, Conan is either broke or stuck somehow. And in the few stories where he isn't, he's facing the immediate threat of peril. Okay. The very first story that got published, The Phoenix on the Sword, Phoenix on the Sword, involves an assassination plot against him after he's become king of Aquilonia. It's actually King Conan. The very first one is the last one in the story chronology. He killed the previous king when he was essentially commander of that king's mercenary bodyguard. That king became corrupt and went mad, whatever. Sure. He killed him and took the throne. And so he's king of Aquilonia, and he finds out there's this assassination plot against him, and there's sorcery involved on both sides. And wow. So he's the king, but people are literally at the beginning of the story trying to kill him.
There's so much that you just said there that like so many movies come to mind. Because again, I don't read these kinds of books, right? So the first one, I think the very beginning, like just at the start of most of these, he's in trouble. My name's Ash.
Yeah.
Where he's getting whipped and he's already in the stocks and pilloried. And that starts Army of Darkness. Yeah. The other one that it starts me thinking immediately is the Chronicles of Riddick.
Okay. Good one
at
to go
the
back to.
well, actually, come to think of it, to me it gets me from. No, yeah. In fact, he starts off in peril in all three of them, but in the beginning of the third one, the movie Riddick, which to me is actually not the best movie, but my favorite of the three.
Yeah,
the best one is Pitch Black.
Yeah.
Chronicles of Riddick is just a steaming pile of horseshit.
Yeah.
But there's at the very beginning, it's
Tell
really
me what
good.
You really think. Yeah, no.
At the beginning, it's really
of
good.
that movie is awesome, and then
it's like, oh, we are going to build a world. It's like nobody asked you to.
We don't care.
Yeah,
like the world you're building is not one we give a shit about.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I don't care. But at the beginning of the third one, it starts with a plot against him.
Yeah.
And then he ends up on that world and he's living his best life, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So it's the same. So again, people are just constantly responding to this
kind of theme. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this was powerful in the 30s because everybody was struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And seeing him face these perils with a cynical, defiant laugh.
Right.
And then overcome them through speed, cunning, and ferocity.
Oh wow, that's so 1930s.
Made him this is my sub thesis. He is the id to Superman's superego.
Okay. See, because I'm looking at the 30s of you mentioned hedonist.
Yeah,
it's time America had a drink again.
Okay, yeah, good. Yeah, true.
You mentioned 30s.
Everybody needed a drink in the 30s.
You mentioned the 30s, and he's starting with struggle, like you said, but he comes through it with what three things you said? Speed?
Speed, cunning, and ferocity.
Right. All three things are essentially kind of what, across the world, whether you're far left, far right, or in the middle, so the Hitler-Jugend, the communist youth, or the Boy Scouts, it's this worship of youth. Vitality.
Yeah.
And we get back to my Captain America episode about the CCC.
Yes.
And you get back to the Roosevelt
and a lot of those guys
ideal.
In the CCC were reading Weird Tales.
Exactly. Because it's cheap, it's on sale in the town.
And it's cathartic.
Yes, and you got $5 to spend for the month.
Yeah.
You might as well make it last by reading shit.
You're going to spend a couple of dimes on a pulp novel. Yeah.
So that's a very 1930s
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Very much, yeah.
So I could see that being really popular in the 70s because times are shit in the 70s.
The 70s was just a crap decade.
Yes.
I mean, the only good things that came out of the 70s was We Were Born.
Yeah. And Star Wars.
Yeah, well, okay, yes. Yeah. Yes, important. You're right.
Actually, come to think, there's a lot of good movies came out of the 70s.
Well, yeah, because when times are shit, people get creative as a way to cope with it.
That's a really good point.
But the oil for the United States.
Yes.
I'm going to say the United States, who had been riding high.
Yeah.
Through the late 40s, well, the 40s period after the war. The 40s into the 50s into the 60s, on top of the world.
Yes.
And then the late 60s happened, and everybody went, the what? And then the 70s hit, and it was like poleaxing a bull. And and so we had the oil crisis.
Yep.
2 of them.
Yep.
The hostage crisis in Iran at the very end of the decade. There was constantly the looming threat of the Cold War. The very first beginnings of automation in industry in this country.
True.
The competition with Japan, specifically in the auto industry.
If you want more on that, you go back to our episode on BattleTech.
Yes. All of these things created a situation where Conan's target demographic felt threatened.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Seeing Conan overcome the pirates of the Black Coast or the Frost Giants or the Picts gave readers an outlet and a story in which an obvious threat could be faced and overcome.
With essentially, I'm going to borrow a 70s term, macho-ness.
Oh, yeah, machismo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we get back to those Frazetta covers again.
Right.
Beyond the cheesecake female figures, which are, let's face it, the reason I really like them.
Right.
But the male figures are superheroic in shape. Mm-hmm. They embody strength.
Right.
They embody a masculine ideal.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got to go back to talking about Howard and his philosophy. And at this point, I think we've reached a spot where we can stop.
Sure.
And I'll pick up with that in the next episode.
Yeah.
Right now,
Uh-huh.
what's your takeaway from what we've talked about up to this point?
I'm still stunned by the fact that he shot himself. Like that hit me on a level that I was, number one, I just didn't expect the story to be like, and the author killed himself at 30.
Yeah.
Like, I expected that the author wouldn't have liked John Milius's version of it or something like that.
Yeah, there would have been some kind of...
Right, but no.
yeah.
And then I found it interesting that other people took up his writing.
Yeah.
And added to the story, because
to the lore.
Yeah,
to the mythos,
we tend to have a sense of propriety when it comes to an author.
Yeah, we do. Which is
except with fantasy.
I'm
because Tolkien's son acceptably wrote.
Well, but Tolkien's son didn't write any of that. He edited the shit out.
Okay, yeah.
Generally speaking, modernly in all of our fiction, we have this idea of, well, that's this person's work,
right?
And the whole fan fiction movement since the beginning of the internet,
yes,
and internet culture has been this kind of pushback against that idea that an author has ownership of their characters.
Right.
Talked a little bit about that when we did our thing about the Hogwarts houses.
Yes.
And I think that'd be a topic for another time that we could spend a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
We could get a lot out of. But
I could probably find us some fanfic writers.
Oh, my best buddy from college.
Oh, there you go.
Is well known in fanfic circles for both his Harry Potter stuff and his X-Files stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which goes back even further.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to get around to saying is that idea of well, this is Tolkien stuff, this is King's stuff, this is, that idea of ownership is a very modern invention. It dates to, I would argue, it's certainly post the invention of the printing press. It might be the printing press that did it, because all of a sudden you had a written form of the story being more normal,
stained on these membranes of trees.
Whereas when stories were orally transmitted,
people would add their own flair.
You as a minstrel, if you started telling an original story about your own character, it was like, who the fuck are you?
Right.
No. I want to hear about Arthur.
Right.
Tell me about Arthur. And throw Gawain in there, because we like him here.
Right.
Wait. Odysseus. Yeah. I want to hear about fucking Odysseus. Who is this OC you're throwing at me?
Right.
I don't know this person from anybody. What the hell?
Right.
And that's the reason that so many of like the Arthurian stories, if you really read the stuff, it reads like fanfic. Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Gawain does what? Yeah. Like which one of the knights can become a giant? Like,
right. It's like wait, when did you ever establish that Zetes and Calais had wings? What?
Yeah. What?
All of a sudden, you didn't say that when you were booking the cruise on the Argo?
Yeah.
No, you didn't. You mentioned a boxer. You mentioned a minstrel. You mentioned a pretty boy. You mentioned Hercules. You didn't think guys with wings deserved mention right there?
Yeah.
Like,
all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
This is a left turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So
yeah.
I get it.
So that it's for me being a history of literature nerd. That's you bringing that up.
Yeah.
Is pointed for me, because it's like, okay, look, if we go farther back,
right,
they're in a way just carrying on a tradition that goes back to the beginning of storytelling.
Oh, absolutely.
From the first time we gathered around fires and made ook noises at each other.
Yeah.
I
would also say that because I, again, with my ancient stuff, I point out to my students all the time that like the version that we're reading is a version that we're reading, and that doesn't negate the version that you grew up reading, and it doesn't subtract from it. They probably came from different islands. It's Greece. Or they probably came from different valleys. It's Norse. And I point out that in some stories, Loki is the brother of Odin. And in other stories, he's the adopted son of Odin. And in other stories still, and on and on.
In other stories, he's both.
Right. And so it's kids are like, well, I thought it was this way. It was. And then I point out, I'm like, we're studying, because I teach Latin, we're studying the ultimate fanfic writer, Virgil. It's like, oh, Odysseus did that. So did Aeneas. Odysseus did that. So did Aeneas. Aeneas
Yeah.
stopped there. So did Aeneas. Odysseus stabbed a Cyclops in the eye. Well, Aeneas saw him.
Yeah.
From a distance.
You know. Saw it happen. He was there.
Odysseus slept with this woman. Okay. So did Aeneas.
So what we're saying is Aeneas was the original Marty Stew?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and I think Odysseus in many ways was the first, or not Odysseus, Aeneas was the first time that a fanfic writer shipped two characters. He literally shipped Aeneas to Dido on a boat.
This is true.
He shipped him to her.
Yes.
But he's like, well, let's make this happen.
Yeah.
And then it blew up, Yeah. So yes, I found it fascinating that it was his estate that benefited, not him. I was stunned to find out that the author of all this stuff burned out like Jim Morrison style, like that quickly, incredibly prolific, and then stopped.
Hemingway's a good comparison.
Oh, that's a better one, because he also shot himself in the head.
Well, in his case, it was a shotgun,
right,
rather than a revolver. But yes.
Good Lord, what's going on? I know what's going on at that time, but
the issues. It's funny. The issues that Hemingway shot himself over would have been the kind of issues that a Howardian protagonist would have had real problems with. Well, I can get into it in the next episode.
Okay.
But what are you reading right now?
I'm speaking of fantasy. I'm reading Onslaught by Michael Stackpole. It's the second book in the Yuuzhan Vong series of Star Wars books.
Okay.
Chewbacca is now dead.
Oy.
It hit me very differently the fourth time around than it did the first through third times around.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting what age will do to you as a reader. And I'm seeing the turn of Jason Solo way sooner.
You're
knowing
twigging,
you're
twigging all the foreshadowing.
Oh my god! But like he has these monologues where I'm like, "Oh, dude, you are already into absolute rule. What the hell?" And I'm seeing that Anakin is going to die. Anakin Solo is going to die because of his recklessness. And I'm seeing a lot of like kind of interesting things going on. And I know what happens to each of these characters, so it's kind of interesting to see that happen. So that's kind of cool. And I'm also amazed at how prophetic Borsk Fela is to our current administration, without realizing that they were. I think in many ways it was Fela was a response to late era Clinton. But it's very much current era Trump. For similar reasons. Malignant narcissism getting power. So that's what I'm reading. I'm having a lot of fun with it. But I also am rereading Forgotten Fire by Adam Bagdasarian. Which is about the Armenian genocide. And I made my world history kids read it.
So these are sophomores?
Sophomores, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they're all starting with they all ask the same question. They're like, how come this book starts with a quote from Hitler? I'm like, when you read the book, you'll figure it out. So it's bleak and dark and sad. What are you reading?
Go. I'm rereading Dune for partly for research purposes for the podcast, and partly because it's been a while since last time I read it, and a whole lot has changed in my life. And just like you said about rereading the Yuuzhan Vong series, I want to see how the notes hit me. Yeah, this time
it's
when
fun.
when I'm in my 40s rather than my late 20s.
When you're happily married, raising a child.
When I'm happily married, I have a kid. Am I gonna identify more with Duke Leto at the beginning of the story? Am I gonna, is Yui suddenly somehow gonna become less of a bastard?
Sure.
Am I gonna wind up flinging the book across the room when Conan says something that reminds me too much of our current administration?
Sure.
I give that one 70-30 odds. The spine of the book is probably gonna get scuffed up by the time I'm done. So that's what
fun.
That's what I'm reading right now. I haven't had time to get very far in it, but I probably will. Yeah. In the next few days.
Well, good. Yeah, I'll have a lot more time.
Yeah.
Too. So, where can people find you on social media?
They can find me on the Twitter machine at @EHBlaylock.
Okay.
Where can they find you?
You can find me at Duh Harmony. That's 2 H's in the middle. Duh, and then Harmony. Both on the Insta and on the Twitter. And you can also find the both of us at Geek History Time.
On the Twitter machine.
On the Twitter. And please drop us lines. As you saw in the couple episodes ago, if you give us corrections, we will read them on the air.
Yeah.
Because we like that stuff.
Yeah,
so please correct us.
We like interaction. We appreciate being called on it when we're wrong.
Yes.
So.
And I just do want to do a quick shout out before we say our goodbye.
Certainly.
There is a new fan who has been born in the last week. To the child of our pinball guest.
Oh!
Has come into the world.
Wonderful. Congratulations on that. That's awesome.
I won't say his name because I didn't have permission.
Yeah.
But wonderful little baby boy, and I look forward to watching all kinds of wonderful journeys for that family.
Yeah. So, definitely. That's wonderful news.
Congrats to Derek and to his family.
Okay. Awesome. And so with that, for a Geek History of Time, I'm Ed Blaylock.
I'm Damian Harmony.
And until next time, keep rolling 20s.